Testing one. Okay. And I think since the state's in the building, we leave the masks.
Yes. Thank you. Well, I guess that was right there. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Stan.
Hi, Brian.
If you're watching on Channel 3, good afternoon. It's nice to have you on the Timbercrest chat today. This is kind of a special chat. We kind of put them off a little bit for the summer, but there's some important things going on here at Timbercrest, and I know Stan wants to get right to that. So the first question is, if you've been walking or driving along Timbercrest Drive, you see all these yellow flags. What are those for?
It's funny you should ask, and they're going to be there for a while, and you're going to see more of them till we're done. In recent issue of Timberline and also in the Together newsletter, I make some reference to the fact that we have entered into a partnership with Metronet for our TV and internet service. Those flags are being put in place all across Timbercrest property. Please don't go around picking them up, leave them down, because what they're doing is they're marking all kinds of utilities like gas, electric, phone, water, sewer, and where our current cable and internet lines are, because we certainly don't want to cut any of them by
that's right.
cutting into them. So please don't pull up the flags, leave them in place. That being said, I would say that we are beginning that process, and we just received the timeline and instructions for us. We haven't had time as a staff to fully digest them, but I can tell the residents that early, sometime in the next 7-8 days, you'll be getting a letter from me about the installation, and it will give you some timeline information, when they're going to start working, where are they going to work first, second, third, etc.,
Sure.
and what you can expect. Now, during this, I want you to know that, everybody to know that we are going to install outlets in every apartment and every neighborhood home. Even if you don't currently use TV or internet, we'd like to have access, because they want to do the full facility at one time.
Sure.
And not have to come back. It's more expensive when we do that.
Right.
Part of the process will be knowing when they're going to be in your wing or in your apartment complex, and we'll have that. And we'll talk with you about time frames, when you can expect them to come. And I hope that everybody will welcome the workers into your apartment. The installation will be fairly simple. There's not a lot of tearing apart walls. There may be a little drilling to install the fiber optic line, but there should not be a lot of mess
Sure.
that's created. So please welcome them into your apartment or into your neighborhood home, and we'll get through this as quickly as we can. Brian, it's really important for me to say that this partnership was kind of unexpected, because as a staff, we were looking at putting in our own network, much similar to what we have now, but it would be something that we would put in place, we would maintain. And this partnership with Metronet is saving us $250,000.
Wow.
Let me repeat that.
Yeah.
$225,000 at least savings, because Metronet is installing all of this network for our system without charge to us. Just like if we were building a new neighborhood somewhere for the public, they would come in and put all the infrastructure in for a neighborhood of homes.
Sure.
And then you would tap into it as an individual.
Uh-huh.
So they pay for that, they're paying for this. The second piece I would say is that they've given us an exceptionally good rate for the service that we're going to be provided. It's in a bulk contract, and we're really excited. There are like 246 channels of television, 40 channels of music that are part of the standard TV that will be accessible to everybody. And the internet speed will be 100 megabytes over 100 megabytes, which means it's going to be a whole lot faster than anything you experience now. And that will be accessible in every room. So we're looking forward to this and making this transition as smooth as we can. We'll have people around that will train us on each individual as they install things. How do you adjust your TV? How does the internet work? So we'll stay right on top of it through the installation.
That's excellent. Now, your remarks gave me two questions real quick,
Okay.
or one comment and a question. I hear that all the time from neighborhood homes residents, so I hope they're happy.
Yes.
How slow the internet is on Hawthorne Trail, or how slow it is. They're just, I think this will make a lot of people really happy with that.
Brian, let me add to that we also, on the management side of this, often experience slow internet service, and part of the installation is what I would call the enterprise system for the business, and MetroNet is putting in all new fiber optic for our business side as well.
Wow. So
that ought to take care of the slow time that staff and vendors see when they're in the building. So we'll still have guest TC, we'll have chapel TC, we'll have secure service for healthcare and for the business enterprise. We'll have what we have now. It'll just be a whole lot faster.
Sure, that'll be really
At least it better be, because that's what they've promised us.
Yes, that's right. The other question I had was about the installation. If let's say you have a two-bedroom apartment, will there be a need to have two, I don't know what they call jacks or accesses in each bedroom, or would they be in every room, like the living room and the two bedrooms, or how does that work?
Well, we don't know quite for sure. At this point, we know that there is one installation in every. Now, I can tell you what's happened at my house, because I have MetroNet.
Okay.
And I have a TV in my bedroom as well as downstairs. I did not have to have a second outlet because my Wi-Fi router transmits to a receiver in my bedroom that connects to my TV. So it did not require a second piece. Now, what MetroNet has said specifically is at this time, we are putting one outlet in every apartment and neighborhood home. We get through this, then individuals will have the ability, and you'll get a price sheet for all these extras that they offer. If you want a second TV, then you'll have to talk with MetroNet to arrange for that. But if I were to say, my guess is that it will be Wi-Fi based and not actually a second outlet.
Nice. That's really, well, you're old enough to remember the days. I remember somebody watching the TV in the family room and somebody else trying to get that antenna turned just right.
Yes.
So, and now look at us, where it's wireless. It's really amazing. That's
it really is. It's exciting.
So tell me about the upcoming board meeting. That's coming up the 14th, is that right? Yeah,
I believe Saturday the 14th of August. Well, there are a lot of pieces of the puzzle that will be similar. We are, if we can get out of some of the restrictions that we have currently, we hope to have the board meeting here. If not, we may have to have it at the Manchester Church. It just depends on the restrictions, because the board itself really can't come in the building under the current restrictions. So we do quarterly reviews of the budget. We have 3 vacancies that will happen this fall, people going off the board after their term of service. So we'll look at the nominees that the board has asked me to contact, and where are we in that process, because then in November, we hope to have that all sealed. Those individuals will be present and they will be installed. Following the meeting, they begin their term of service. So we're in that process. The board at the last meeting established a Timbercrest Board Compliance Committee, which is required by the Office of the Inspector General, and they work with our quality assurance, our compliance, our quality assurance and performance improvement committee. And it's about making sure that, one, we're following the law,
Right.
and number two, that when we find something that isn't working well, that we are taking steps to improve that process in the life of Timbercrest. And the board ultimately pulls all that information together and says, things are going well, hey, here's something new we want you to work on. And that committee is now functioning. So we'll hear the first report from that committee. And then finally is that we're beginning a strategic planning process. At this meeting, it'll be a long meeting. We're meeting in the morning until about 10:30, and then we're going into a quasi-retreat to begin process of strategic planning. We have reports from Mennonite Health Services, who have done an operational study of Timbercrest. Blues and Company, our auditors, have done a financial analysis on sustainability, and they're going to bring that data, all of which informs the board as they begin thinking about 22, 23, 24, 2 or 3 years in advance, and what we need to be doing to meet the challenges that we have. So this begins a process. Now the board, oh man, they've got a rigorous, vigorous schedule. They hope to have the strategic plan completed for approval at the November board meeting.
Wow.
So
wow.
We next week we have our first video conference call. We have the board meeting and the board retreat, and then almost weekly meetings thereafter with one group or another of the board to get ready for the strategic plan in November. So we have our work cut out for us.
Sounds like it. It
Yeah.
sounds like the board's a really dedicated group of people.
They really are. And we're at a time in our life that we need to be extremely alert and be prepared to make adjustments as they're needed for the future Timbercrest. Timbercrest has a long history and a legacy, and we want to build on that into the future, and that's what the board's excited about.
Nice. That's really good. That's I know you've sat on boards of other organizations, and there's a lot of times it's just you're kind of a seat filler.
Yeah.
But it sounds like our guys and gals are really just something else.
Right. Well, and I think you participated in it this week. Another part of the process that we've already engaged, so the management team, there were a number of employees, the resident council, there was a randomly select group of residents in the Manor, Crestwood, Healthcare, and Neighborhood Homes, all received an invitation to respond to a questionnaire that'll be sent to Mennonite Health Services. They will take all of our responses to get what do you call it? They'll put them all together and give us a composite response. So it's totally anonymous. We don't know who sent what in.
Sure.
But again, to help give the board more information from each of those areas of what people would like to see take place. So a lot of areas of involvement in the strategic planning process.
I think that's really excellent. That's good. Now, our next question here, and I wanted to check that, and I didn't, has to do with these new guidelines and new, I hesitate to say shutdown, but new restrictions
yeah.
on things. And one of those impacts our scheduled trip to the Dixie on August 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
The way things are at the moment, we're going to have to postpone that trip probably a week or two.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, I know why, and you know why, but it would be helpful, I think, if everybody could hear what, and we'll get the word out to everybody about this postponement. But,
Yes.
But why is that? What's going on?
Well, we have done so very, very well over the past year and a half in managing the coronavirus here at Timbercrest. Even among employees, we've done a very, very good job. And I think we continue. Unfortunately, last week we had 2 employees tested that had positive reports. And that put us into a position. We reported that to everyone. And so we've started a process of testing everyone. Subsequent to that, we have a resident who also has now tested positive this week, and that's been reported. After all this is done, we had an additional test done on with one of the employees, and we received their report back that it was a false positive, and so that one is being removed from the count. So we had a net increase of 2. And that puts us into kind of an outbreak mode, and so we have to have continued testing. We'd like to be able to share more information, but we can't because people's privacy is really important, and so who and where they serve, et cetera, is all confidential information. As far as the new regulations, almost regardless of what happens, it's going to be in place through August the 3rd. There won't be a change. Now, if we can get by without any new cases of COVID till August, the end of the business day, August 3rd, then we'll be able to draw back on the restrictions and begin opening up again. But if there are new cases, and at this point, my understanding is that whether it's employee or resident positive, it pushes the expiration date of the restrictions out further.
Right.
So, August 3rd, everybody's going to be watching for that. Just remember that if there's another case, the clock starts over on the date of the first positive beyond that. So it begins again. It's just the way it is. Again, I wanted to be clear that I think that our testing process and our screening process has, for the most part, been extremely effective.
Yes,
and
I agree.
And all of us hate that we've had to kind of backtrack, if you will, into these restrictions, but it's what has kept us as safe as we have been, and that's what we want to continue to do.
Sure. No, that's right. I'm glad to hear that. If people still have concerns, they can always talk with you, can't they? Or...
They can talk with me. They can talk with Sabina. Now, Melissa's on vacation this week, but she'll be back on Monday. They can talk with her, or Christy. Any of us will be able to help with questions you've had. And I've had a number of residents come to me and ask questions about something that they're about, sure. And we've been able to help them walk through that. So that's what we're here for, is to help everyone.
Right. That's good. Well, I'm glad. That's we used to, back when we were shut down before, I used to ask the guests on the chat for anything that they might say that would be encouraging to those that are watching before we close up for the day. So we're kind of back in that mode, hopefully just briefly. What could you say that would encourage those who are thinking, why are we going through this again? What kind of encouragement can you offer?
Well, number one, the pandemic has lasted a whole lot longer than any of us ever dreamt. But it's not uncharacteristic of this magnitude of virus to last a while. It is not uncharacteristic for there to be variants that show up, which is what's happening now. And I guess what I would the positive I would bring is that I am a firm believer of the vaccines that people have gotten. I think the evidence shows that it is effective. No vaccine is 100%. It doesn't give you a 100%, you're never going to get the measles, you're never going to get mumps, there's never that kind of statement made. And that's true here. I know with both the annual flu shot and with the Shingrix shots that I got for shingles, they always say you may still get these diseases, but we see that that symptoms of them last a shorter period of time and they aren't near as severe. And I have a strong feeling we're seeing this, that those who get the vaccine and get addressed with the variant or with one of the others, they get it again, that they're seeing a far better outcome, a quicker outcome, not as severe. And so I'm not ready to say, oh, why did I do this? I still am I am so glad I got the vaccination. I am so glad for my health and for the health of people around me that I got the vaccination. And I'm a strong supporter of what we have available to us. And, I just want to encourage anybody that, I have family members who have gotten the vaccine and who have not. And I'll just give you an example. I got an invitation to go to the Elkhart County Fair this week, I believe, from one of my niece's families. And there's been some hesitancy about the vaccine there. And they said, oh, come on, Uncle Sam, why don't you go with us? And I said, no, I'm not going to the Elkhart County Fair. And I'm not going because, number one, I'm choosing not to be in high-density people areas. I'm just not going to get with a huge, big crowd where it's compressed, and knowing what I know about Hoosiers' low vaccination rate. It's not worth the risk to me. And they said, oh, we hadn't even thought about that. And so I think it's important to, if you will, bear witness to how important I think it is wherever I can. Now, I don't know if they're going to go get vaccinated or not, but I gave them something to think about because I took the time to say, I'm not doing this because, and it's not just the vaccine. It's about, I don't have to go to the Elkhart County Fair. I want to stay healthy for the residents of Timbercrest and for my family. And frankly, I want to stay healthy for me too. Sure. So, to me, it's about me sharing the experiences and knowledge I have and to encourage others to do the same. So my encouragement is that I am supportive of where we've been. I'm supportive of the vaccines. And I really look forward to a time when we move beyond the pandemic.
Yes, amen.
Amen, yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you, Stan. And we'll have another Timbercrest chat the first Thursday of August, whether it's with you or or I've got some things brewing. So
Yes.
but the next chat will be in the second week. I'm sorry, the second week of August. So until then, thanks for watching.
Good day, everyone. Have a great day.